Once upon a time, there lived a boy named Sefu. Sefu was a young boy who grew up with an old baker named Emeka. Sefu had no father or mother, just Emeka. Their life in the village was very difficult. Emeka's bread wasn't popular because there was another baker who sold bread very cheaply. This other baker had many fields and bakeries in other villages, so Emeka couldn't compete with him. Growing up in tough times, Sefu learned early on that life can be very hard. "Someday, I'll be rich and never hungry again," he used to promise himself. One day in the village, there was a festival organized by another baker. Everyone was having fun and eating the free food the baker was giving away. Sefu and Emeka were not invited to this festival. "Maybe we can sneak out and steal some food," Sefu said hopefully. But Emeka said, "No, Sefu, we won't take what doesn't belong to us. Our pride is worth more than our hunger." After that, Sefu went under the big plane tree in the village. He was talking with himself. "What an idiot! We don't have a piece of bread to eat." He is still talking about pride. He was filled with the despair and anger. One evening, after another day of not finding food, Emeka spoke in a weak voice. "The world is a difficult place, Sefu, and we are all part of it. Each of us can make our own little world a better place." Sefu could take no more of Emeka's words and shouted angrily, "Enough! I don't want to hear any more nonsense. I'm sick and tired of your words." Sefu had begun to see the world as a place full of bad people who only made people suffer. In Sefu's eyes, the baker was a well-meaning but naive man who could not see the real world. Emeka's business got worse and worse. People in the village were buying the other baker's cheap bread. Emeka had no chance in this competition. Over time, Emeka's health could no longer withstand the constant struggle with hunger and despair, and he fell ill. During that time, Sefu never left him. To help the baker recover, Sefu stole food without hesitation, but hid it from Emeka. When Emeka asked, "Where did you get this food?" Sefu replied, "Someone owed me money, so I took it in exchange." "Sefu, never steal, no matter how badly off you are," the baker told him in a weak voice. A few days later he died. The baker's death affected Sefu. He didn't speak for a few days. He had no one to talk to anyway. Sefu's broken heart was even more deeply hurt by the fact that people in the village only talked about their debts instead of mourning Emeka's death. "People, all you care about is money and wealth. But one day, I will show everyone what is important." Instead of feeling sad about the old man's passing, folks in the village kept talking about the money he owed, and the person who was owed the most money from these debts came knocking on their door to get it back. Although Sefu lived with the baker, he was unaware of Emeka's debts and was already penniless. When the man asked Sefu for the debt, the young boy helplessly showed him his empty pocket. The man angrily gave him a day's grace, and when he came back the next day, nothing had changed. Just then, as the man grabbed Sefu by the collar and shook him, an old man passing by saw the situation and intervened. He was an old man named Thabo, who lived far away and sometimes came to this village to buy things from his home. Thabo spoke to the man in a calm tone and gave him the money to pay the debt. When the man took the money and left, the old man saw Sefu's bad condition and felt sorry for him. "What are you going to do now, young man?" "I don't know. I have no place to go and no job I know." "I knew Emeka. He was a very good man. May he rest in peace." "You can come with me if you want," Thabo said. "I can give you shelter and a job." Sefu accepted this offer. He knew there was no other way out of the life he was living. Sefu and Thabo walked into the forest outside the village. Thabo's house was hidden in the heart of the forest, next to an old oak tree. Old books hung on the walls, and shelves filled with plants and strange symbols gave the house a mysterious atmosphere. In the early days, Sefu helped Thabo with his daily chores. He watered plants in the garden, cleaned the house and prepared meals. Thabo taught Sefu the importance of patience and care in every task. Sefu did not like these lessons, but he did not show it. He felt that Thabo was not an ordinary man, but he had no idea who he really was. Ever since Sefu lived with Thabo, he started his day with a routine. Thabo would leave the house at first light and head off somewhere. He would return home around noon, usually with a thoughtful and sometimes satisfied expression on his face. Sefu took over the household chores during this time. Sefu disliked these tasks, but he had nothing better to do. Without Thabo, he would go hungry. But the question of where Thabo went in the morning was still on his mind. One morning, he couldn't resist his curiosity any longer and decided to follow Thabo secretly. Sefu went to a part of the forest he had never seen before. Thabo finally stopped in front of a huge rock. As Sefu watched him from a hidden place, he noticed that Thabo's lips moved and he said a special word. With the force of this word, the rock moved with a great noise and opened the entrance to a cave through which Thabo entered. In amazement, Sefu tried to understand how this huge rock could move. He wondered what was inside the cave, but he didn't want to get caught by Thabo and went back home. During dinner, Sefu's eyes often drifted to Thabo. Thabo noticed Sefu's changed behavior and said with a smile, "I think someone has been following me." Sefu felt surprised, but knew he had to tell the truth. When Thabo talked, Sefu felt bad and looked down. "I followed you," he admitted, his voice shaky. "I just wanted to know where you go every morning. Sefu, if you want to know my secret, you must first pass a test," he said. After dinner, Thabo sat down opposite Sefu. With a serious expression on his face, he said, "Sefu, there is a giant living in the forest near us. He is always demanding food from the villagers and threatening to harm the village if his demands are not met. I want you to solve this problem without violence. This will be a test for you. It is an opportunity for you to learn what true courage is and how to solve difficult situations wisely and peacefully." Sefu thought about Thabo's words and decided to go to the giant's cave the next morning. When he found the giant, he told him about the village's difficult situation and emphasized that mutual respect and understanding would benefit both sides. After a long conversation, Sefu and the giant were able to negotiate a peaceful agreement between the village and the giant. The giant stopped harming the villagers, and Sefu, together with the villagers, devised a plan to provide the giant with food. Thabo was pleased with Sefu's success. "Well done, Sefu. You have passed this test. Tomorrow I will take you with me as I promised." The next day, Thabo went into the forest again, with Sefu following. They went to the mysterious stone door. Thabo used the special word to open it, and they went inside. Inside, there was a room in a cave. Crystals sparkled on the ceiling, and there were old writings on the walls. In the center, there was a big stone table surrounded by books about magic, potions, and other magical stuff. There were people of all ages learning witchcraft under Thabo's guidance. Thabo told Sefu that they were his secret students, learning to protect nature and fight against bad things. Thabo introduced Sefu to everyone and asked him to join the classes. Sefu was happy to be part of it and started going to the classes. For a long time, Sefu learned a lot from Thabo about magic. He practiced every day and got better and better. As Thabo and Sefu sat around the fire one evening, Thabo talked about the history of the village and the wizards. This land has been home to many wizards over the centuries. Each of them understood the value of living in harmony with nature and protecting it. I hope that one day you too will come to this deep understanding, Sefu. Sefu didn't care much for this. One day, when Kai, Thabo's most talented student, entered the cave, Sefu immediately recognized him. As Thabo introduced Kai, he showed great satisfaction at his achievements. "Kai is one of the brightest minds here," Thabo said proudly. "He understands the importance of living in harmony with nature and protecting it." But Thabo's praise for Kai planted a seed of jealousy in Sefu. Sefu wanted the attention and praise that Thabo gave him, and now he wanted to not only master magic, but also to surpass Kai. This new sense of competition made Sefu even more ambitious and fueled his curiosity for dark magic. One day, when Thabo wasn't home, Sefu found a special scroll hidden away. It had powerful spells written on it, but Thabo had told him never to use them. Sefu thought he could handle it and decided to try one. But when he cast the spell, things went wrong. A fire started in the house and Sefu was scared. Thabo came back just in time and saved him. Thabo looked at Sefu seriously and said, "Magic is powerful, but it's also dangerous. You have to be careful." Even though Thabo warned him, Sefu couldn't stop thinking about the forbidden magic. He read the scroll over and over again, trying to learn more. One evening, Thabo returned from gathering herbs in the forest to find Sefu reading a forbidden scroll. The glow of dangerous spells lit up the dimly lit room. Thabo took the scroll from Sefu and spoke with a serious expression. "Sefu, these are not ordinary spells. Dabbling in the darker aspects of power will only lead you to destruction. Remember, true power is the power you can control and understand. Therefore, if you wish to remain my student, you must end your dangerous quest immediately." But Sefu was too overcome with ambition to heed Thabo's warnings. "I must be better than Kai. I must be the best. Give me back the scroll." "Enough. Sefu, I forbid you to come to the cave for a while. You will continue your studies at home." Sefu didn't say anything, but he was not convinced. After that, Kai came to see him from time to time. He was aware of Sefu's growing obsession and tried to reach out to him, offering friendship and guidance. "Magic isn't about competition, Sefu. It's about harmony and understanding," Kai said, hoping to bridge the gap between them. But Sefu's heart was hardened by jealousy. The more he delved into the forbidden spells, the more he isolated himself, not just from Kai, but from all his fellow students. Thabo watched with a heavy heart, realizing that Sefu's journey might lead him to a darkness from which there was no return. One day, Thabo had gone to the cave again and left Sefu home alone. At noon, Sefu was doing his daily chores when he heard voices coming from deep in the forest. 3 bandits had discovered Thabo's house. As they walked around the house, they noticed Sefu and headed towards him. "Give us your all money," one of the bandits said in a threatening tone. "I have nothing to give you," Sefu replied bravely. The bandits attacked him in anger. Sefu tried to defend himself, but he didn't stand much of a chance against the 3 of them alone. In a sudden reflex, he used a powerful spell he had learned from Thabo, and the bandit collapsed in pain. The other 2 bandits could not understand what had happened and were terrified. Sefu shouted, "Attack now, you cowards! You are all cowards! You only mess with weak people, but I will show you who is weak!" And Sefu knocked down the other 2 bandits and finished all 3 of them. Just then, Thabo appeared. Sefu was stunned by his sudden appearance in the silence of the forest. "Master, Sefu, what have you done?" There was disappointment in Thabo's voice. Thabo approached Sefu, a look of deep sadness on his face as he saw the 3 bandits lying on the ground. "Magic exists to protect and heal life, Sefu. To use it like this is unacceptable. They attacked us and I defended myself. If I hadn't done that, maybe I would be lying on the ground now," Sefu replied. Thabo tried to remain calm despite his frustration. The struggle for survival, yes, can sometimes be brutal. But by abusing your magic, you become just like them, Sefu. True strength lies in choosing truth and compassion, even in the hardest of times. Sefu said, "You are like the baker, master. Neither of you understand the world." Thabo approached Sefu, put a hand on his shoulder and said, "Every human being makes mistakes, Sefu. The important thing is to learn the right lessons from them. It is my responsibility to keep you on this path. Your responsibility is to learn how to use the power you have received." Sefu wasn't even listening. He ran into the forest and did not come back for a few days. After that day, Thabo told Sefu not to use magic anymore. But whenever Thabo went out, Sefu couldn't resist trying new spells. His desire for power and his anger grew stronger. One day, Sefu found a hidden room in Thabo's house, but the room was locked, and only Thabo had the key. In the evening when Thabo went to sleep, Sefu saw his chance. Quietly, he approached Thabo's room. Thabo was sleeping peacefully. Sefu remembered Thabo's guidance, but his ambition took over. He took the key from Thabo's robe and unlocked the secret room. Inside, Sefu found ancient secrets of magic. He looked through books and objects until he found a black book with forbidden spells in an ancient language. Sefu couldn't resist. He opened the book and started learning the spells. For days, Sefu studied the book, memorizing every spell. But the more he learned, the more the book controlled him. It filled him with dark desires and made him do things he never thought he would. As time passed, Sefu's power grew stronger, boosting his confidence. But along with this power came pride and dissatisfaction. He started dabbling in forbidden magic, ignoring Thabo's teachings about balance and caution. When Thabo noticed Sefu's dangerous path, he warned him. Power isn't everything, Sefu. It's how you use it that matters. Misusing magic leads to destruction. But Sefu didn't listen to Thabo's advice. His ambition drove him to betray his master. As Sefu's obsession deepened, he delved into forbidden spells from ancient texts. When Thabo was away, he experimented recklessly. One day, while Thabo was out, Sefu decided to try a forbidden spell. It was strong and dangerous, and could cause serious problems if used incorrectly. But Sefu was determined to prove his strength. When Sefu did the magic, the room filled with a buzzing energy. But then, the magic went wild, just as Thabo walked in. Seeing Thabo look upset, Sefu got really scared. Thabo tried to step in and help, but Sefu is not thinking straight. Used another magic spell quickly. It hit Thabo like a big wave of energy. He was shocked and collapsed in pain and confusion. Sefu went to his master's side and said, I can no longer let you stand in my way, master. I know you're furious with me, but that's the only way. I can't be strong while you're alive. Thabo said, Sefu, I'm not angry with you, I'm just sad because you lost your way, and closed his eyes forever. Kneeling next to Thabo, Sefu felt a deep void where his heart should be. The words of his master lingered in the air, a mixture of love and sadness rather than anger. But the black book was controlling him. He quickly pulled himself together and went to the secret cave to destroy the rest of the wizards. Sefu made his way to his master's cave. Using what he had learned with dark spells, he finished the other students. However, there was one thing he noticed. 3 people were missing. He waited for 3 days, but no one came. Sefu stood there, feeling strong and ready for anything. They can try to stop me, he thought, feeling tough. But what he didn't know was that this was only the start. A storm was coming and it was going to change everything.